Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to SoCal Exploring. My name is Scott, and you're watching your stop for all things theme park and attraction related. Hey, if you guys are new here, consider subscribing with those bell notifications down below, and leave this video a like at the end if you enjoy it. It helps out the channel a whole lot. And if you aren't already following us on our two social media accounts, make sure to do so. You can find it down in the description, or just go to Instagram at Exploring Attractions and Twitter at SoCal Exploring. Disneyland opens up very, very soon, next week in fact, and you know, Rise of the Resistance is going to be one of the attractions that opens up with the two theme parks. However, it's going to be using a little bit different of a system as far as getting a boarding group goes. Now it's called a virtual queue. It's similar to the system that they're already using over at Walt Disney World for Disney's Hollywood Studios, and since I have experience using it there and experience and having a good success rate with boarding groups in California, I figured why not make a video giving you guys the best tips and tricks on how to make a boarding group for when Disneyland opens up. Now keep in mind, these tricks and tips and stuff like that may not be to your best advantage. Since I haven't had experience with this specific system at Disneyland, I've only had to use it for Hollywood Studios and the old system for Disneyland. So I'm going to try my best to give you guys the best tips possible based off of the one in Hollywood Studios and the old one that used to be used at Disneyland. So first and foremost, what do you need to know? How are you going to get a boarding group for Rise of the Resistance in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? Now you have two opportunities to get yourself a boarding group for the attraction, one at 7 a.m. and one at 12 p.m. But you might be asking yourself, you know, the theme parks aren't going to open up at 7 a.m. They're going to be opening up at 9. Well, just like with Hollywood Studios, you don't actually need to be on the theme park property to make a boarding group. So you could be in your apartment or your house or wherever you're at. You could be in your hotel, in your car if you wanted to. And you can still go on to the Disneyland app and try to snag yourself a virtual queue for Rise of the Resistance. However, of course, you have to have admission into the park. So you can't just make a reservation and, you know, expect to get in with that since you have a virtual boarding group for Rise of the Resistance. And I'm only saying that right now. It may sound stupid, but I'm only saying that because I know some people may be under the impression that that's how it works out. Now, how exactly does it work with park hopper tickets? If you start your day at California Adventure and you're going into Disneyland later on, how exactly does that work out? Because you can't park hop until 1 or 2, I believe, which is either an hour after the second boarding group time or 2 hours after the second boarding group time. Well, the only people who will be able to make the virtual queue for the 7 a.m. time slot is people that are starting their day off at Disneyland. Now, that's not to say that people starting off their day at California Adventure won't be able to join the virtual queue system. However, they'll have to wait until the 12 p.m. time slot. And this does not entitle you to go in before the park hopping period of 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. You're just able to make, for the park hopping guests who are over at California Adventure, you're able to make a virtual queue at that set time. Now, I don't know if you have to be on theme park grounds for the second time slot. I'd assume not, since you don't have to be on grounds for the first one. But if you guys are confused about it, I'd reach out to a cast member and ask them before your visit. So I mean, everything's pretty straightforward. At 7 a.m., everyone who's starting off their day at Disneyland can make a virtual queue whenever and wherever they want, as you know, they may fill up after 5 minutes, but you can make it whenever you want. And at 12 p.m. is when the majority of theme park guests as well as park hopper tickets will be able to make a boarding group. Keep in mind, you still cannot hold 2 boarding groups in one day, so you can't re-ride the ride unless for whatever reason you bought 2 admission tickets. Like, that'd be kind of weird, but you cannot re-ride the ride on that same day. It is. If you're going back a different day, then you can ride it as much as you want. All right, now that we got the details out of the way, let me give you guys a few tips and tricks that I think benefit me when I was trying to get them at Hollywood Studios and that benefit me when I was trying to get them at Disneyland. Now, like I said, with the attraction system, I've always said this because everybody complains about it. It's kind of a controversial topic on whether or not this system should be in play, but it always depends on the connection of your phone to wherever you're at. It's not just a lottery system. It's literally whoever gets in there first based off the connection of their phone, that's who are going to get the early boarding groups. And that's why Savannah and I had great success with the system, because we'd go to a specific spot in Frontierland where they had the best connection possible for our phones. Now keep in mind, if you're going to try to do this at the parks, like for whatever reason you're going to line up 2 hours early, compared to the opening time of Disneyland, I would not recommend going on the park's Wi-Fi. That has never worked out for anyone. Typically, the people who go on the park's Wi-Fi, since everybody's using it, get backup boarding groups or just a really late boarding group. Now, what I would recommend is downloading like a speed test app and speed testing different spots throughout the park or wherever you're at, if you're at home or whatever, and seeing where you get the best connection at, whether it be with Wi-Fi, whether it be with data. Run those speed tests. It may seem like a lot, but if you want an early boarding group and you don't want to worry about, whether or not you're going to be able to get on it because you have a backup boarding group, then I highly recommend downloading that speed test app and testing the different speeds in your area. This is exactly what we did at Hollywood Studios. We ran that speed test app in different locations in Toy Story Land because we didn't want to go to different parts of the park, but we walked around Toy Story Land seeing where they had the best connection at. And that, came as a benefit to us. We were able to snag a boarding group for the second time slot that they dropped, because we got in the park a little bit late, and we got an early boarding group per se for that time slot. Like, I think we only had to wait 45 minutes after we made the actual boarding group to get on the attraction. Now, another thing that I'd recommend is a lot of people will say open the Disneyland app as soon as it hits, let's say 12, and you'll have the best chances. No, you need to have the app open on the virtual queue screen, and then you need to refresh. Typically, like, Savannah will have her Apple Watch out and she'll be counting the seconds on the clock, and as soon as it hits, let's say 7 or 12, I'll refresh it once more, join, add your people to the party of who's getting on the ride, and then you're able to make your boarding group just like that. But you got to be quick about it, guys, because these go out fast. So whoever's not in your party on that specific day, I would remove their ticket or whatever from your account. Because if you don't remove their ticket from your account, you're clicking join virtual queue, and then you have to uncheck the people who aren't with their party and only check the people who are in your party, which makes it more of a delay. And yes, they do go in seconds, so this does matter a lot. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I wish you guys all the best of luck, because I'm not going to be able to test out the system myself since we're not going for like another month or so, and that's just because I want to wait till Avengers Campus is open and the hours are a little bit more extended. So right now I'll sit out and wait and go to other theme parks like Knott's Berry Farm or Universal. I miss Disneyland. I cannot wait to step foot back in that beautiful theme park and test out this virtual queue system, see if it's better than the old one, see if it's better than the one in Disney World. However, speaking of Disney World, you guys may know that we're going back in May, so we're going to test out that system in May at Hollywood Studios and see if it's any better or if it's any worse or if it's just the same. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe with those bell notifications on and leave it a like if you enjoyed it. I hope these tips and tricks help you out a little bit on making your Rise of the Resistance boarding group, or now what is called a virtual queue. And I wish you guys all the best success in getting an early boarding group to ride one of the best theme park attractions known to man. My name is Scott. You've been watching SoCal Exploring. Positivity is key, and most importantly, remember to keep exploring. Peace out, everybody.